Yo, what's up, fans? You know, I'm happy to be a Fever. You see me? See me? You see me? You see me with this on? Yeah, I'm back, baby. I'm back where I started. Let's go.
Remember how the narrative was completely upended when Sheryl Swoopes said that no one wanted to play for the Indiana Fever? A three-time WNBA champion and former Defensive Player of the Year chose to team up with...
Wait. Yep. You look good on me, huh? Look good. Like a whole 360. Like, I think I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, man, what if I go back to Indiana where I started? That'd be crazy. Look where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be back. It's closer to my family, friends, so, and unfinished business too.
With Caitlin Clark specifically, and she is already vehemently defending her new teammate against critics in the second game. What's up, basketball fans? Today we're going to explore what may be the most unexpected WNBA offseason move that no one anticipated and how it's totally rewriting the rules. What's behind this shocking decision that has the basketball world talking? Why are seasoned players suddenly flocking to a team that finished near the bottom of the standings last season? The story of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. For months, we heard the naysayers and critics, including Sheryl Swoopes, who boldly declared that established WNBA stars would actively avoid playing in Indiana due to the Caitlin Clark circus. You may recall the famous quote, "Nobody wants to play with the Indiana Fever." The critics painted this picture, saying that veterans would flee Indiana because they wouldn't want to deal with the spotlight, the media attention, and the crowded arenas that follow Clark everywhere she goes. However, something happened that those critics didn't anticipate. Not only did Natasha Howard, a three-time WNBA champion, former Defensive Player of the Year, and one of the league's most admired veterans, decide to rejoin the team that drafted her in 2014, but she also made a statement during
The young group that we're bringing back, asked us, protect our locker room, protect the culture that we've got started. So that was very intentional. And so, Natasha, knowing her when she was a young player, and then watching how, when you go to other teams and you help other teams win championships, that's really something special.
her press conference debut that completely destroyed Indiana's toxic narrative. Howard was unable to control her emotions during the press conference. I felt a little emotional, as if I was back where I began and Stephanie White was praising me. I thought, this is where I belong and this is where I need to be. And I was thrilled to be able to return and take care of some unresolved business. When Howard was shown her original 2014 Fever jersey, the emotional weight of this homecoming was evident. It wasn't just a contract signing. It was a full-circle moment that profoundly affected Howard, tying her past to what could be an amazing future with this resurgent Indiana team in the third. The fact that Howard wasn't forced to move to Indiana or accept the Fever as a last resort gives this even more impact. As Kelly Krakoff, the general manager of the Fever, disclosed when Amber and I first spoke, the person seated next to me was our upscale integrity, high-class, excellent teammate. The target from the beginning, Howard was their first choice and a guy they deliberately pursued to change their roster. The COO of Fever. When introducing Howard, Amber Cox couldn't contain her excitement, pointing out that some people recommend having a one-page CV. Natasha is unable to comprehend that it is multiple pages. The players on the list are of such high caliber that they simply decided to play with Caitlin Clark in Indiana. What really breaks the Swoop story is Howard's own strong statement that he returned far from escaping the Faye Fever. "I'm just really honored and blessed to see a team that appreciates me and that wants my light," Howard said with deep thanks. This wasn't just a basketball decision. It was a personal one about finding a place where her skills and contributions would be appreciated. She even talked about how she's changed since her first time with Indiana. "I feel like I've changed a lot as a person and as a player, and I feel like a lot of teams didn't really appreciate me as they should." This is where things get really interesting. Howard didn't simply discover while critics were busy saying that no one wanted to play with Clark, these two were quietly forming what could become one of the most lethal fast break duos the WNBA has ever seen. That's why she found the perfect basketball soulmate in Caitlin Clark. This isn't just any partnership, though. We're talking about pairing a player known as Flash with perhaps the most creative distributor in the game today. Howard's elite transition scoring ability creates exactly the kind of target Clark has been missing in Indiana. As one of the few players who averaged more than 18 points per game and pulled down 7 rebounds per game last season, Howard is a transition scoring machine. Her ability to sprint down the court at full speed, maintain body control, and finish at the rim is exactly what the doctor ordered for a passer with Clark's vision. That kind of efficiency isn't just good. With at least 25 games played, it was elite the previous season. The list of players that averaged both 18 and 7 rebounds per game was small in elite last year, while Natasha Howard was one of only 13 players to reach 18 points per game. A.A. Wilson, Nafisa Collier, and Brianna Stewart. Indeed, Brittany Griner and Natasha Howard's versatility is a key selling point for Howard. The team struggled last season with a roster that was unable to fully utilize Clark's incredible passing ability. Too frequently, teammates who were unable to keep pace or finish in traffic wasted opportunities to provide an assist. In her conference debut, Howard, who has built her career on being precisely that type of finisher, said it's going to be the Caitlin Clark flash show, playing with a point guard who has good vision on the court. As soon as she gets the ball in her hand, she throws it up because she already sees the person down the court before she even gets the ball in her hand. That's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs, but Howard brings so much more than just offensive firepower. Howard couldn't contain her excitement about this ideal basketball marriage, specifically saying, "I can't wait to run the floor and get those passes." Howard's arrival instantly solves the Fever's defensive deficiency from the previous season, when they were near the bottom of the league. With a wingspan of almost 7 feet, Howard is a defensive nightmare for opponents who can efficiently guard several spots. The numbers speak for themselves. For 7 straight seasons, Howard has averaged at least 1 block and 1 steal a game. This type of defensive disruption changes. When Howard jumps a passing lane with her long arms, it creates transition opportunities in the opposite direction, right into the hands of the game's premier outlet passer, Clark. When Howard calls out defensive rotations with her championship-tested voice, the entire unit becomes more cohesive. When Howard enters the 2025 season, she will enter the league 25th all-time in blocks in WNBA history. Additionally, her wingspan and 6'2" height allow her to be disruptive defensively around the rim against opposing bigs. Howard was not given the moniker Flash by chance. Her ability to make plays and her rapid twitching movements are exactly what the Fever lacked. If receivers are unable to separate or locate the ball, Clark's precise passing accuracy is useless. Open areas. Howard is very good at putting herself in advantageous situations by utilizing her speed and basketball IQ. How terrible will it be for opposing coaches to prepare games for this duo? Pick your poison could elevate both players' games to even higher levels. If you concentrate too much on stopping Clark's passing, Howard will thrive on one-on-one encounters inside. Conversely, if you pay too much attention to Howard rolling to the rim, Clark will find shooters spotting up on the perimeter. When Cheryl Swoops brazenly declared that there were a lot of things going on in that locker room, she couldn't have been more mistaken. The duo is just the beginning of Indiana's makeover. The Fever didn't only increase with the addition of Natasha Howard. The front staff put together what may have been the most significant one-year roster change in WNBA history. And since then, they have steadily developed a championship-caliber team. Supporting cast members that are making the basketball world hush. In addition to sharpshooter Sophie Cunningham, who brought playoff experience from the Phoenix Mercury, and seasoned point guard and 2-time champion Sydney Colson, whose consistent play is ingrained in her game, Danana Bonner, a proven champion with championship DNA, selected Indiana.